How goes the job? Alright. I suppose we should get the cat. We should address the elephant in the room. Let me change to some more dramatic music, because I'm a big fan of dramatic music. Hold on. So, how goes the job, I was asked. I wish I had good news, but y'all strap in, because this story goes insano style and not in a fun way. So as you all know, I left YouTube, and Twitch for that matter, back in early January because I was starting my new job, confirmed, on February 4th. That was my first day of work. I went in, and I was, enjoying it is a stretch, but I worked with some cool people. I didn't enjoy the work, but it was easy. Y'all, the job was so easy. So I worked at what's called a transfer station as a scale house operator, which is a very fancy word for the guy who takes your money at the dump. So people would come in, and I was on one of two positions, either inbound or outbound. I'd capture their weight with a little card, give it to them, they'd go through. That's all you do on inbound. There's some things we're not allowed to take. We have cameras to make sure they don't bring that in. That's it. If I was on the way out, it was even easier. They'd just give me the card they got on the way in, I'd scan it, and I'd say, "Give me your money!" And then they'd give me a card, and then say, "There's an extra $2 for cards!" And then they'd yell at me like it was my fault. So that's 90% of the job. It's super easy. I'm getting along with almost everybody totally fine, very well. There's a few people who are like, oh, the new guy's, messing this or that up. And, I would sit down and talk to them and be like, cool, let me learn from this. Let me learn, let me get better. And by my second month out there, I was doing fine. I knew the job top to bottom. It was really, really simple. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, I have been at this job for 3 months. I know what I'm doing. Everyone, I know everyone. Everyone knows me at this point. But this one guy, my entire time there, has been making snide remarks at me. And not like, oh, just some office hazing. You'll get used to it. Yada, yada. It's just a joke, bro. No. I thought it was at first. For the first 2 months working there, I'm like, okay, he's hazing the new guy. He's gonna insult how I work and all that jazz. He's making jokes about me leaving to go work at Starbucks. And then after 3 months, he's still making these. And he makes a remark. We're talking about something on the radio involving a gym. And I say, oh, my brother back in Maine is opening a gymnastics gym, actually. And he just says, oh, you should go work for him. And I'm like, wow, keep saying stuff like that and I'll think you don't want me around. He does not laugh. He does not respond. He does not say anything. And so I'm like, okay. I come back to the room an hour later, because I covered breaks at that job. And I go to put him on break, and I say, hey, real quick before you go on break, I just want to let you know, person to person, that what you said earlier today made me really uncomfortable, and I'd appreciate you not talking to me like that. Let me do a visual representation of how he reacted. I say, hey, I don't appreciate that, and he goes, it really does suck that you chose to take my words that way. That's on you. And he walked away. And like, I don't know if I did it justice. His hands were like this. Like, not like this. It wasn't like full-on aggression, but it was like this. Like, his hands were raised up. And so I call management and say, hey, this just happened. I'm uncomfortable. And my lead, who I love, and I don't think she had anything to do with me getting fired, says, I'm so sorry you went through that. This is not going to reflect on you. Thank you for telling me. And I also send it to our higher up, the person in charge of our area of the transfer station, the scale houses. A week goes by. Nothing. This guy knows I've talked to management because he won't say a word to me anymore. He won't even make eye contact with me. I'm still being polite and nice and treating him like a person. He does not look at me. Then, this past Thursday, I come into work. I've got all my work stuff in my bag, and the person in charge says, hey, Brogan, come over here, I want to talk to you. They pull me into the office, they sit down with the other guy who's in charge of, not HR, but like the paperwork of the whole place. And he goes, Brogan, you're just not getting along with a lot of the people here. We've decided to let you go. And I'm like, really? That's news to me. Besides this one problematic guy, who else? And they struggled to come up with any actual explanation. They were like, oh, well, when you work with this guy, he's told us that he tells you to do things and you don't do them. And I'm like, that's not true. But unfortunately, because I'm the one being let go, my perspective doesn't matter. And here's the biggest problem and why there's nothing I can do about it. From a purely non-moral, non-human, just business side of things, I understand why they did what they did. Because our work has a union. Our job is union protected. But when you start working for the county, you sign as part of your paperwork that the first 6 months of your job here are considered a probationary period where you can be let go without cause. But rather than deal with him, it's easier to say, you've only been here for 4 months, you're still on your probationary period, we're letting you go and there's nothing you can do about it. And that was last Thursday. Over the next 5 days, 4 days, whatever, I made my content return plan. I made my stream plans. I recreated my entire stream overlay and hyper simplified it, went a little bit more minimalist. I recreated all of our alerts. I recreated the YouTube channel, had a little bit of an overhaul. I'm working on overhauling the Patreon. The entire Discord server has been overhauled, which if you're not in Discord, you can use !Discord and jump in there, because the community, I want to be a lot more active in there. I'm going to be doing a lot of things differently. It sucks, but it is what it is, and I'm here now. I'm here, I'm back to entertaining. I'm taking this as life pushing me back in this direction. I am not taking this as, oh, woe is me, everything sucks, I'm gonna sit here and eat pizza until I feel better. Because I've done that in the past, and heads up, it doesn't work. I've learned a lot working a 9 to 5, because remember, chat, I have been doing YouTube full-time since 2020. Ever since the pandemic hit, I have been self-employed, except for these 4 months. And let me tell you, not working a 9 to 5 grind for 4 months, or for 5 years, your brain loses a lot of its own self-structuring abilities. I was not organized, I never had a schedule, my uploads and my streams were a little bit inconsistent. And that expanded into the rest of my life, too. I would wake up at different times. I would go to bed at different times. My life was not well structured because I hadn't needed to structure it. That sounds like a blessing, but in reality, it is a pretty harsh downside over time. If you can control your lack of structure, if you can control the lack of structure, and this sounds counterintuitive, but if you can structure your non-structured life, without giving it hard and fast structure, you can do a lot. And it's, I know I'm making no sense. This is just how my brain works. I'm not going to be fully structured, wake to sleep every day of my life. I kind of was at the 9 to 5, and I think it was great practice. I felt too structured. I would wake up at 5:30, go to the gym, eat breakfast, take a shower, leave for work 9 hours, get home, play like an hour of a video game with dinner, and then go to bed, and I would do that 5 days a week. And I was falling asleep at like 8 p.m. because I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I wanted that 9 hours because I'm a big slothy boy. And I'm very excited to hop back into content creation with that new ability to create my own structure and adapt to it. To wake up, I want to wake up at the same time and go to bed at roughly the same time. And I'm going to be streaming the same 5 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. PST, write that down. And now that I have the practice of being structured, I'm going to have more control over how I spend that freedom. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making any sense whatsoever. Here's the big thing, chat. Here's the big thing. I really want the ability to hang out with my friends. When I get out of work at 6 p.m., it's 3 in the morning for European people. And I didn't have time in the morning to do anything. So I've lost contact with so many of my European friends because of that job. And I'm hoping to find some again. I'm hoping to reconnect things and start hanging out again, because I miss that. At the same time, this goes back to the structured lack of structure thing. One of the biggest, I have to call it a mistake. I don't regret making the mistake, but it's a mistake I don't want to make again. Especially at the beginning of 2025, I had a bad habit of making too many friends. I think I mentioned this on stream a few times last year, but in like March 2025, I was actively talking daily to over 30 different people, not counting the friends that I'd talk to like once or twice a week, or once every couple of weeks. So over the course of a month, I was actively maintaining like 50, 60 different relationships of various intensities. And I realized, oh my god, I can't keep up with this. For my own sake, and for the sake of everybody I'm connected to, I have to stop giving time and energy to some of them. Which sounds horrible. You know what I mean? It's all, imagine you're at high school, and this is such a first world problem. It's such a first world problem. The best way I can explain it, because I don't think everybody goes through this. The best way I can explain it is imagine you're in high school and you are trying to be friends with every person in your grade. Not just your class, but in your grade. Like 90 different people. You're trying to find time to talk to them in the hall, hang out with different people at lunch, spend your weekend with people. It's impossible. You can't maintain that many relationships. So that was a big struggle I faced. And so part of this like loss of relationships I felt, it's also half by design. The problem is there's a lot of relationships that I do want to keep nurturing that I just haven't had the time for. But long story short, the job was great. They fired me because of bullshit interpolitical drama. I'm returning to streaming, 5 streams a week. I guess one more thing I should talk about. Content's going to change a lot. I'm going to say it now because it needs to be said, and I'm going to break some hearts. My channel, my YouTube channel, is not going to be about Pathfinder anymore. Hey, there it is. I'll give you a second. Take your time. You good? Are the tears drying? Cool. Okay, fantastic. The channel is not going to be about TTRPGs anymore. The channel, and here's the interesting thing. The channel's focus is technically not even changing. The channel has always been about me. It sounds narcissistic and egotistic, but that's just kind of YouTube. I feel like you have to have a little bit of narcissism to make it as a content creator. This channel's about me. This stream, these videos, it's about me. And it's like the Spaceman meme, where it's me, but it's also me shooting me. It always has been. It's very weird to say out loud. I still don't, like, enjoy saying it out loud, but it's just the reality of it. It's the community built around me. You know? It's the community built around this space, which is me, with an asterisk, because it's also about video games and shit, but, like, I guess I'm the facilitator. It is such an impossible subject to breach without sounding completely narcissistic. I had such a massive revelation working this job, by the way, chat. I want to talk about this. And that is that for the past 3 years, especially the past 3 years, 2023 to 2026, I was running my channel in a way that in retrospect is insane. I was not catering to you guys. I was not catering to the audience that enjoys me and the content I create. I was so stuck looking at the view numbers and the revenue numbers. I spent those years catering to the audience that doesn't even like me. I was catering to the audience that wanted a review of every new class, every new archetype, every new book, that only wanted me for Pathfinder because I was the Pathfinder guy. For some reason, because the view numbers were higher, I catered to them. The people who did not give a shit about me, my content, that would leave asshole comments about how my content is good except for the parts with me in it. That's who I decided to cater to. Rather than the people who watch me for me out of fear of losing those assholes. This might be on YouTube right now. If you are one of those viewers, I'm not really sorry. I spent way too long catering to those people when I should have been catering to you. These people right here. When I post these next few videos over the next couple of weeks of me playing Mario and these conversational moments that I'm posting, which I'm also considering making a clips channel for some of these. I might make a clips channel for videos of me just like talking and yapping like this. Those views are going to be low. I will probably post a Mario video on my YouTube channel, and it'll probably get like 1,000 views. Maybe. But I'm gonna get over it. Because if I'm used to getting 6,000 views, and 5,000 of those people don't care enough to watch me, that's not the audience I want to cultivate for the future. I want to cultivate an audience that enjoys the energy I bring, the conversations I have, the comedy that I vomit up when I pretend to be funny. I want that. I want you guys, and I know there's more of you out there. And if I continue to appeal to an audience that doesn't find me entertaining, then of course anytime I try to do something else about me, it's going to fail. But as long as I make enough content about me, then the people who stick around will be the people who like me. And if we find new people, hopefully they'll like me too. Now give me all of your money.